Being strong all the time isn't a virtue. It's a sentence you signed for yourself.
She spent $120,000 saving others, but when she needed help, she was alone.
While you were everyone's safe harbor, who was taking care of your horizon? The greatest proof of strength isn't carrying the world. It's having the courage to put it down.
What if you had learned too early that being strong was the only option? If you had understood, still a child, that crying was weakness, that asking for help opened the door to abandonment, that showing vulnerability was disappointing those who count on you. Since then, you don't break down, don't call for help, don't show when it hurts. And the stronger you seem on the outside, the more people lean on you, financially, emotionally, in everything, without realizing you're also tired, exhausted, broken.
But what nobody sees is the price you pay. The invisible price of being the one who always solves, who always sustains, who can never crumble. Because if you fall, who will hold the rest? Being strong all the time has a cost too high to be paid in silence. And often, that cost is measured in dollars, in bills paid alone, in dreams postponed because the money went to support those who should have been by your side.
Marina learned early that being strong was survival. She was 9 when her father left. It wasn't dramatic. There was no violent fight, no door slamming in the middle of the night. It was more silent than that, and therefore more painful. Simply, one day he was there, the next he wasn't. He left a note on the kitchen table. "I can't anymore. Sorry." And that was it. Disappeared. Left her mother with 3 children, Marina, the oldest, at 9, her brother at 7, the youngest at 4. Also left a rented house, overdue bills, and a woman who didn't know how she'd sustain everything alone. Marina remembers that first night. Her mother locked in the bedroom, crying softly, trying to muffle the sound so the children wouldn't hear. But Marina heard, always heard. The younger siblings crying, scared, not really understanding what had happened. Where's Daddy? When is he coming back? And Marina, at 9 years old, wiping their tears, saying, "It's okay, everything will be okay." But inside, she was also terrified, also wanted to cry, also wanted someone to tell her it would be okay. But there was nobody to say that. So she swallowed the crying, dried the tears before they reached her chin, and thought, without words, but with absolute clarity, someone needs to be strong here. If not me, who? And she was, for years, for decades.
Marina's childhood was different from other children's. While friends played with dolls after school, Marina helped her mother fold clothes they washed for others, 25 cents per ironed piece. While classmates went to movies on weekends, Marina watched her siblings so her mother could clean 3 different houses. At 12, she started working too, distributing flyers, $12 per afternoon. At 15, had 2 jobs, one morning at a bakery, another afternoon at a store. Studied at night, got home at 11 p.m., slept few hours, started over the next day, and never complained, never said, "I can't take it anymore," never cried in front of anyone. Because being strong had become her role, and over time, she didn't know how to be anything else. Marina grew up, left home at 21, got a better job, secretary at a mid-sized company, $1,500 a month. Finally, she thought, she could breathe, could live a little for herself. But her mother called 2 weeks later. "Marina, rent went up. I can't pay it alone. Can you help?" And Marina, without thinking twice, said, "I can." Started sending $330 a month, then $500, then $670, because mother needed medicine, because brother needed school supplies, because sister needed. There was always something. And Marina paid, because that's what she did. That's what she'd always done. At 25, her brother entered private college. Mother couldn't pay. "Marina, can you help? It's his future. It's important." Tuition was $565. For half the degree he completed, 3 years, Marina paid. 565 times 36 months equals $20,340. "When I graduate, I'll pay you back everything," the brother promised. Marina believed, because she wanted to believe, because she trusted. He graduated, got a job, earned $2,900, never mentioned paying the money back, and Marina never asked, because asking would be petty, would turn love into transaction, would be selfish. At 28, Marina met someone, Ricardo, kind, affectionate, fun. They said they loved each other, started living together when she was 30. At first, they split everything, $1,000 rent, $500 each, bills, groceries. But gradually, splitting became deformed. Ricardo worked as independent salesman. "This month slow, babe. Can you cover for me? Next month I'll make it up." Marina covered. Next month came. Ricardo didn't make it up, and Marina didn't charge. He contributes in other ways, she thought. He keeps me company, supports me emotionally. It's not all about money. And she kept believing that while silently taking on 60%, then 70%, then 80% of expenses. Marina built a life. From outside, everything seemed fine. Stable job, now as administrative coordinator, earning $4,000. 12-year relationship, solid, everyone said.
Family that depended on her. But that was normal, right? That's what families do. But inside, she was empty and broke because nobody ever asked if she was truly okay. Nobody asked, "Marina, are you tired?" Nobody offered to share the weight. Nobody said, "Rest. Let me hold this for you now." And her, she never asked, because asking for help seemed like admitting a weakness that couldn't exist, because showing exhaustion was disappointing, because breaking down was opening a gap for everyone to discover. She wasn't as strong as she seemed, and if they discovered that, would they stay? At 42, Marina had a moment of brutal clarity. It was a regular Monday. She was paying the month's bills, as always, alone, at the kitchen table. And for some reason, that day, she decided to look at her savings account balance. $3,600. 22 years of uninterrupted work. Since age 20, never stopping. No vacations that weren't cut short by some family emergency. And she had $3,600 saved. $3,600. Marina stared at that number for a long time, trying to understand, trying to make the numbers work, trying to figure out where she went wrong. Because she wasn't a spender, didn't buy expensive clothes, didn't travel, didn't have vices, didn't eat out every day. So where was the money? And then she started remembering, really doing the math.
College she paid for brother, $20,340. But it wasn't just that.
There was also the $2,500 she lent him to buy a used car, to get the good job, money he promised to return in 6 months. It had been 4 years. Mother's rent she took over when retirement wasn't enough, $670 a month. Marina paid for 7 years, religiously. 670 times 84 months equals $56,280. $56,280, more than an entire year of her salary. The loans she made: $2,100 to sister-in-law who was going through a difficult situation, never returned. $1,500 to cousin who needed to pay an urgent debt, disappeared after receiving. $2,700 to church friend who was going to lose her apartment, never mentioned it again. $3,750 to sister who needed urgent dental treatment, said she'd pay in installments, paid 2 of $165 and stopped. And Ricardo. Ricardo. Marina decided to do a calculation she'd never done. Look at statements from the last 5 years and calculate how much each had actually contributed. Got bank statements, separated by category: rent, basic bills, groceries, leisure, health, car. Marked in green what was his, in red what was hers. Took 3 hours. When she finished, she was trembling. In the last 5 years of relationship, rent, Marina paid $89.
Marina felt nauseous, not angry at Ricardo, not at brother, not at mother, not at anyone specific, but at herself, for having allowed it, for having accepted, for having erased herself so much, so completely, that she hadn't even noticed, for having believed that generosity without limits was love, when in reality, it was fear. And then her relationship ended. Not that day, but a few weeks later. Marina, for the first time in 12 years, asked for help, asked him to contribute more, showed the numbers, explained she couldn't do it alone anymore. And Ricardo, instead of listening, defended himself by attacking. You earn more than me. Obviously, you'll pay more. I contribute in other ways. I keep you company, give you emotional support, or is that worth nothing? You're being materialistic. Since when is our relationship about who pays more? And finally, the phrase that broke something inside her: if you're not happy, maybe we shouldn't be together. Marina looked at him, really looked, for the first time in years, saw clearly. Saw a 40-year-old man who had gotten used to being supported, who had found in Marina someone willing to carry everything and had settled comfortably into that dynamic. Saw someone who didn't love her for who she was, but for what she provided, and said with a calm that surprised even herself, "You're right, we shouldn't be together." He left on a Friday, took the clothes, took the electronics Marina had bought for them, took the car, the one she'd paid 24 payments of 48, and left 2 overdue credit card bills, in her name, purchases he made in recent months, promising to pay, never paying, $7,400 in debt. Marina didn't cry when he left, didn't feel sadness, not even relief, felt emptiness, as if they'd ripped something from her and left only a hole. But she cried when she saw the debt, cried from anger, from exhaustion, from injustice. Because even leaving, even abandoning her, he was still taking from her, still making her pay. And she, as always, would have to handle it, alone. Because being strong always meant this: always paying, always sustaining, always carrying alone what should have been shared. And worst of all wasn't the debt. Worst was the question that wouldn't leave her mind. If I stop giving, who stays? Who loves me without my infinite capacity to solve, to pay, to sustain? And Marina had no answer, because deep down, she was afraid to discover the answer was nobody. Being strong all the time isn't strength, it's survival mode. And surviving isn't the same as living.
When you learn early, you can't break down, you build armor. It tells the world, I can handle it, I'll solve it, you can lean on me. And people believe. Get used to it. Start expecting you to pay when money runs out, solve when problems appear, hold everything when everyone lets go. And you keep holding because you think, if not me, who? If you fall, who pays your mother's rent? Who saves your brother in difficulty? Who's the reliable person in the family? So you don't fall. Swallow the exhaustion, push through one more month, one more year, one more decade. But the body charges. Nights waking at 3 a.m., doing mental math, constant tension in chest and stomach, exhaustion that doesn't pass with physical rest because it's deeper exhaustion of soul. And the bank account also charges. Marina worked 22 years without stopping, wasn't irresponsible, didn't burn money on luxury, still had $3,600 saved. Not because she earned little. Over her life, adding all salaries, passed hundreds of thousands of dollars. But because money left silently, brother's college, mother's rent, loans that never returned, relationship where she funded almost everything alone. In the end, the balance wasn't just financial. It was emotional. The feeling of having been used. It was existential. What did I live for? Just to put out others' fires? And underneath everything, a huge fear. If I stop giving, who stays? This is the most painful point, because often it's not just generosity. It's fear of being abandoned if you say no. Fear of seeming selfish if you save money for yourself. Fear of discovering some people only stay while you're paying the bill. And that fear makes you accept what you shouldn't accept, makes you pay bills that aren't yours, makes you support healthy adults as if they were helpless children,
Makes you call love something that, in practice, is exploitation disguised as affection. When Marina looks at the numbers, $121,000 more she funded just in the last 5 years of relationship, the penny drops. It wasn't a little more. It was an entire life giving much more than she received. A life where everyone had somewhere to run, except her. And then comes the question she most avoided. If I stop being the savior, who remains by my side? That question scares, because it can reveal a hard truth. Many people weren't there for the person Marina, but for Marina's services. But there's another question, even more important. And if I continue like this, what remains of me? Because the price of being strong all the time is often you disappearing from your own life. This is where her story begins to turn. Not when she earns more money, but when she understands the real turn isn't financial, it's internal. When she decides she won't be the only answer for everyone anymore. When she chooses, for the first time, to also be an answer for herself. But there's something Marina, and maybe you, still needs to hear. The next chapter can be different. Doesn't have to be like the previous one. You can rewrite. It took time. A long, long time. Took 3 months after the breakup for Marina to stop crying alone at night. Took 6 months for her to pay that $7,400 debt Ricardo left. Took 8 months for her to finally do something she'd never done. She said no. Her brother called, as he always did when he needed something. Marina, I'm in a tight spot here. Need $1,250 borrowed. Just until next month, I promise. And Marina,
heart racing, guilt rising in her throat, answered, "I don't have it." "What do you mean you don't have it? You always have it." "Not this time. Sorry." Silence on the other end. "Seriously? You're going to leave me hanging like this?" And that phrase, "leave me hanging," as if Marina had eternal obligation to save everyone. But this time, Marina took a deep breath and said, "I'm not leaving you hanging. I'm taking care of myself for the first time in 20 years. You'll have to find another solution." And hung up. Her hands trembled, heart racing, overwhelming guilt. But also, something different. Relief. For the first time in her life, she had said no, and the world didn't collapse. Did brother get angry? He did. Called 2 more times, then stopped. Did their relationship change? It did. He disappeared for a while, but eventually returned, with fewer requests, more respect. And Marina? Marina survived. More than that. She discovered she could. 3 weeks later, Mother called. "Marina, rent went up again. I don't know how I'll pay." And before, Marina would have automatically said, "I'll help." But this time, she asked, "How much is it?" $790. "And how much do you receive from Social Security?" $1,150. "Then you can pay. It'll be tight, but you can. And if you need to, see if you can find a cheaper place." Silence. "Marina, you've changed." "I have. Because I needed to. Because if I don't change, I'll break completely." Mother was upset. Marina felt the guilt, but didn't go back. Because she finally understood. Taking care of Mother didn't mean destroying herself financially for her. Meant helping within the possible, within the reasonable, within what didn't compromise her own future. And $670 a month for years wasn't reasonable. Never was. And then came the hardest test.
The church friend, the one who owed $2,700 for 4 years, suggested having lunch together. At the end, when the bill came, she looked at Marina with that smile that always worked. "You pay today, I'll pay you back later." And before, Marina would have paid, to avoid embarrassment, to not seem petty. But this time she said firmly, "Not today, let's split?" The friend made a face. "Seriously? You always pay?" "Exactly, I always paid, and always needs to end at some point." The friend paid her part but was strange the rest of lunch. After that, stopped inviting Marina out. And Marina realized something painful but liberating. That friendship only existed while Marina was giving. When she stopped giving, the friendship vanished. Which meant it was never real friendship, it was transaction. And discovering that hurt, but also cleansed. Because now she knew, who stays when you stop giving, those are the people who truly love you. The rest were there for what you provided, and when it ended, they left. And that's okay. Better to discover now than in 10 years after giving even more.
Marina opened a new account at another bank, an account nobody knew existed, and started doing something revolutionary, saving for herself. First month, $250. Second month, $330. Third month, $290. Had an unexpected expense, but saved anyway. In 6 months, had $1,750. More than she'd saved in 5 years giving to everyone.
And that $1,750 wasn't just money. It was proof. Proof she could. Proof that when she stopped giving to others, there was some left for her. Proof she deserved to save. In 8 months, had $3,160. In 1 year, $5,160. And for the first time since always, Marina started planning. Not planning others' lives, but hers. Started researching that financial management course she always wanted to take, $2,000 upfront. Started dreaming of that trip she always postponed, a week at the beach, alone, without having to care for anyone, $1,500. Started thinking, for the first time in decades, about herself, her dreams, her desires, and realized something that changed everything. She didn't need to be strong all the time. She needed to be wise. Wise to understand caring for herself isn't selfishness, it's survival. That saying no doesn't make you a bad person, makes trees. That saving for yourself isn't stealing from others, it's finally recognizing your own worth. That true love, whether family, romantic, friendship, doesn't demand you destroy yourself financially to prove it. Love that charges self-destruction as price isn't love, it's exploitation. And Marina had finally learned the difference.
2 years after the breakup, Marina was different. Not externally, still had the same face, same job, same basic routine. But internally, unrecognizable. Had $15,400 saved. For the first time in her life, had a real emergency fund. Had taken the course she wanted, invested in herself, in her skills, in her future. Had taken the solo trip and discovered she could enjoy it without guilt, without thinking, I should be using this money to help someone. And mainly, had learned the word she'd never mastered before. No. Marina, can you lend? No. Marina, can you cover for me this month? No. Marina, just this once? No. And you know what happened? The people who really mattered stayed. Mother, after initial shock, learned to manage better, found a cheaper apartment, started making some side money selling baked goods, and their relationship became more honest, less based on financial transaction. Brother, after a few months of offended silence, returned, more mature, and for the first time, when they met, he said, "Sorry for taking advantage so much. You were always too strong, and I got used to it." Sister, who Marina almost never mentioned, but who also always asked, started approaching differently, wanting to talk, not ask. And the people who disappeared when Marina stopped giving proved by absence they never deserved to be there in the first place. Marina also learned something about strength, that being strong isn't enduring everything alone. Being strong is recognizing your limits, is saying, I can't do this, and that's okay, is asking for help when you need it, and she started doing this, timidly at first, more naturally later, is allowing others to see your vulnerability, and discovering that doesn't push away the right people, it brings them closer. Real strength isn't rigidity, it's flexibility, isn't never breaking, it's allowing yourself to break and putting the pieces back together.
Isn't carrying everything. It's knowing what's worth carrying and what needs to be let go. And Marina learned to let go. Let go of the belief she needed to save everyone. Let go of the fear that without constantly giving, she'd be abandoned. Let go of the idea her worth as a person was tied to her ability to solve others' problems. And when she let go of all that, she became lighter than she'd been in 30 years.
If this story touched you, leave your like. And if you want more reflections like this, subscribe to the channel. Sometimes what we most need to hear is, you don't need to carry everyone. You don't need to pay for everything.
You don't need to prove your worth by destroying yourself financially. You don't need to be strong all the time. You can rest, finally, truly rest. Can save money for yourself without guilt. Can invest in your dreams without feeling you're stealing from others. Can say no without fear of being abandoned, because whoever abandons you for having boundaries never truly loved you. You can choose you, not just once, but every day, in each decision about where your money goes, where your energy goes, who has access to your generosity. Choosing yourself isn't selfishness, it's justice, it's balance. It's finally recognizing you also deserve the care you always gave others. Share with another woman who also carries the weight of supporting alone. With that friend who's always paying her boyfriend's bills who will make it up next month. With that cousin who supports the entire family while nobody asks how she is. With that acquaintance who seems strong, but you see in her eyes the exhaustion she never admits. With that woman who needs to hear, urgently, before it's too late. You weren't born to be a martyr. You were born to live. And truly living also means caring for who matters most, you. Maybe what you heard here today is the permission she needs, the permission you need, to finally say, without guilt, without fear, without shame, no, this time I choose me. And discover that when you finally choose yourself, you don't lose love. You lose exploitation disguised as love. And what remains, what truly remains, are the people who were always there for who you are, not for what you give. And those people, those are the ones worth keeping. All the others can go. And that's okay. You'll be okay. Better than okay. You'll finally be free.